Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones, and I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Let me clean my mic off, man. Gotta be professional here. Gotta be professional. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And what you all right now are getting a glimpse of, little behind the scenes type stuff I should have done, but man, I've been ripping and running, man. I just finished doing the press conference virtually with Coastal Carolina. They got a big-time matchup this Thursday versus Jacksonville State Gamecocks. So I had to check out the press conference. I got an article I got to write in about, I guess, the next 40 minutes. So we got to go ahead and get this going, all right? So we're going to talk a little bit about the Saints preseason week 3 takeaways. That's what we're going to be talking about here. A lot of excitement, a lot of people are, dancing on cloud 9 right now because of the performance of Spencer Rattler. We're going to get into that. We're also going to be getting into some of the lows, or what I like to consider the lows, about the preseason, who didn't do themselves any favors, what guys actually took a step forward and made some things happen for themselves. But of course, I want to say thank you to all those that are checking out this podcast right now, no matter where you are, wherever you may be, and no matter what you're doing. I know a lot of people say they listen to this podcast while they're working out, while they're walking in the park. I mean, I appreciate it, man. Wherever you are right now, and however you get this podcast, I really do appreciate it. I also said on the watch along on Sunday for the game, the State of Saints podcast, pregame and postgame show will be live at the Little Easy Restaurant, 632 Julia Street in New Orleans on game day when the Saints take on the Carolina Panthers. So if you're in that area, you're at the game, you want to get yourself something to eat, or you just want to pass by to say hello, man, make sure that you stop on by the Little Easy Restaurant, 632 Julia Street in New Orleans. So looking forward to that, man. It's my first time actually doing something of this magnitude. Is just a testament to the hard work and resolve that we've done as a platform here. And I really do appreciate you all and your efforts to help this podcast to grow so that we can be able to do those type of things. And hopefully we have a nice turnout, man. So, y'all can come out and, get something to eat, and we can talk a little bit about the Saints. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. I got a few sound bites that I got to play. Of course, a lot of them are going to be the press conference of Dennis Allen after the game versus the Tennessee Titans. And we also got to address something that I seen on the Saints Insider. I got to tell y'all that just floored me, man. I don't know what the heck going on. I don't know what the hell the agenda was with this one, but we're going to get into that. But first, I want to acknowledge some people in the chat. I want to acknowledge Tidra. I also want to acknowledge Linda, Jerry up in here. It's my boy King Arthur. I seen him roll through. King Gucci, at the top, Cameron, man. Shouts out to you, Cameron. Thank you, man. Trav, thank you for being here. Snake Bit, Rico, not Rico Payton, but our favorite Rico. Shouts out to Rico for being here. Kevin as well. Let me see. Klendrick, thank you very much for being here. Ike, not Ike Turner, but Ike Wilson. We got Cliff up in here, not Uncle Clifford, but Cliff. We got and we got Ivan that just rolled up and through here as well. And shouts out to Rashad and Big Sean. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Shouts out to everybody here, and shouts out to the people that can't make it. Always got to acknowledge the people that at work, doing other things, probably can't catch the show live. Shouts out to the After Show boys.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to the After Show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to the After Show boys. They be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them After Show boys, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them After Show boys.
Shouts out to all the After Show boys, After Show girls out there. But let's go ahead and get into these sound bites, man. Of course, we know the New Orleans Saints. They lost to the Tennessee Titans by a score of 30-27. But having a game in preseason, we know that even though, it counts for certain guys to be able to do certain things, of course, nobody really looks at the score. People look at the production. People look at some of the players that are on the bubble or individuals that we think should be taking a step forward from one year to another. But of course, this was a more exciting preseason because you had a lot of competition with the New Orleans Saints. You had a lot of positions that needed to be filled. But of course, the one that would be more polarizing in any situation, that would be the quarterback position. And of course, we know that Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler played in this game. Derek Carr did not play. And both guys got a large sample size of real game action, right? The reps were about virtually the same, and both guys had the opportunity to do some things. And of course, Jake Haener, he struggled a little bit. He was not himself in this game. He did some really good things, but however, he left a lot to be desired. But then you have Spencer Rattler, who came in and took advantage of his opportunities. And of course, this is what a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation want. They want Spencer Rattler. They want Spencer Rattler because of his upside, his abilities, his arm talent. And, of course, we know that if all of that translate to the field, then the Saints could possibly have their succession plan. They can possibly have their franchise quarterback, and he came to them in the 5th round. And, of course, the question was asked to head coach Dennis Allen about the Haener versus Rattler competition there, and what did he see in the game versus the Tennessee Titans?
I'd say over the last, week to 10 days, I feel like Haener took a real big step forward in practice. I don't think we saw as much of that in the game. Now, what are the reasons why, whether it be routes or protections or misreads or whatever the case may be, I think we go back and we look at the tape and evaluate where that was. I thought Spencer, did some nice things today. I thought he looked, calm, poised, made some good throws, was able to extend some plays with his feet, get some first downs, by tucking and running. So, I felt good about, and feel good about the quarterback room.
So, to me, and I think that I have to agree with Dennis Allen, this is a good position to be in when you have two young guys that have some really good qualities about themselves. It's not like you got one guy that just constantly struggles and you have another guy that you have to, build up and you have to develop in order for him to be something. It's not one of those situations here. It's two young guys that have a lot of promise. Now, to me, I looking at that, press conference, listening to it, I got to say that the more I listen, the more I feel like Jake Haener is going to be the backup quarterback. But I don't think this is going to be some of that situation that is set in stone. It's not going to be one of those situations where, if Spencer Rattler starts to develop, and let's just say, for example, Derek Carr has played for like 4 weeks, knock on wood, I don't want this to happen to Derek, whether you like him or not. But if he was to go down, and let's just say Spencer Rattler was balling out in practice and stuff like that, or they start to see like him develop as a player, start to like see, him doing the little things. I can look at that and honestly believe that he can probably jump Jake Haener. because looking at these two guys, they virtually have had the same type of performance, right? It's kind of like being, a race where it's a photo finish, right? One guy plays well, the other guy doesn't. Then the other guy that didn't play well last week plays well, and then the other guy who played well the week before doesn't. And it's like it came down to the final game. But of course, they get a bird's eye view of certain things that we don't see, like certain things that the media does not cover. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. I know we want Spencer Rattler to be the quarterback. We want him to be QB number 2. Me personally, if it was me, based on the game that I seen against the Titans, I would have to say I would have to roll with Spencer Rattler. And it's not anything against Jake Haener. I just feel like Jake Haener gets a little bit too uptight in real-time situations. And what you've seen from Spencer Rattler is a guy that the moment wasn't too big for him. Maybe it was the fact that he has experience playing in big-time college football. You can say what you want about South Carolina. It's still a SEC team. Oklahoma, they may not have defense to save their mama life. But guess what? That is big-time college football. And Spencer Rattler has been a polarizing figure since he stepped foot in Norman and then, of course, out in Columbia, South Carolina for the Gamecocks. So I think that actually helped him and shaped him and molded him into the quarterback that we see on the field. Sometimes it may not look a certain way in practice, but when you put a guy out there on the field, they go out there and they ball to freak out. I think that's one of those cases with A.T. Perry. I constantly say A.T. Perry leaves a lot to be desired in practice, doesn't really stand out, but when he is in a game, he making plays. And I think that this is one of those situations. And I know that you may not want to look at it that way because coaches want the players to practice the way that they play, but that's not always the case. And I think that it would be what's the word that I'm looking for? It would be ridiculous. Okay, I'll just say that. It would be ridiculous for the Saints not to take into consideration that Spencer Rattler seems like he performs at a higher level when the lights are at their brightest. And Jake Haener seems to leave a little something to be desired. And you have to ask yourself this. If two guys are neck and neck and there's not really that much separation from them, and we've heard media personalities say this on countless occasions when they're evaluating or telling us on these podcasts and in their articles that there isn't that much separation, the one thing that I think you have to take into consideration is the fact that Spencer Rattler seems that the lights, when they come on, he shines, and Jake Haener, I don't know, man, it just kind of gets lost in translation. I don't really understand that. Look, not to say that Jake Haener, like, if they were to have Jake Haener as the backup quarterback, I would be like, oh, man, it's like, nah, not Jake. Nah, I like Jake Haener. I think that Jake Haener has some really good qualities. Y'all know, I mean, I'm sounding like a parakeet or a broken record right now. I think that this guy has a really high football IQ. So you can't go wrong. But I do feel like when it comes to like clutch and game time situations, who am I counting on based on what I've seen? I have to roll with Spencer Rattler. But those are the coaches. They're the ones that make these decisions at the end of the day. But then we go ahead and we move on, man, and we talk about like some of the tough decisions. I already mentioned that. Speaking of which, the Saints got some tough decisions to make. I mean, you have 90 guys that you started off with in camp, and you take them out there to Irvine, California, and, you get an opportunity to see these guys up close. You see the highs and the lows. You see guys who probably started off at a certain spot, kind of elevate themselves, working extremely hard to try to make the team, man. You have no choice but to be a little bit sympathetic to these guys and build some type of rapport with them, man, based on their journeys. And Dennis Allen spoke a little bit about some of those tough decisions and making those tough decisions as a coach and as a ball club.
Here's the reality. The reality is that you go from 90 guys on your roster and you have to get all the way down to 53. And so that's always tough. And look, these guys have worked extremely hard. Go all the way back to the beginning of the offseason program, through the OTAs, mini camp, training camp, preseason games. Like, these guys put their heart and soul into this. Young guys, vet guys, and so it's always it's always a tough deal. And on the flip side, as you said, to see some of this hard work, pay off, is also just as gratifying as it is difficult on the other end.
So, as we can see, man, it's a tough decision. You know what I'm saying? It's tough stuff as a coach, to see guys give it their all, their blood, sweat, and their tears, and know that everybody isn't going to make this team. But you got to go out there and put your best foot forward. You got to go out there and grind and don't leave anything left in the tank. And if you do that, then more than likely, you'll be just good enough to be beaten out by Isaiah Foskey, because this is my next topic right here, right? This is my next topic. There was something else that was very, very eye-popping to me at this press conference. And I think it was Mike Triplett. Shouts out to Mike. I think he asked a question about Isaiah Foskey. First, I'm going to play the clip of Dennis Allen talking about Isaiah Foskey after Mike Triplett asked him the question about what he thought about Isaiah Foskey during this whole preseason process.
Well, my overall view is I think he's taken a step forward, and yet I think there's still some things that he's got to improve on. I think, there's some things that he could potentially help us, in the passing game some. I certainly see a vision for this guy helping us on special teams. And so I think you still have a young player that still needs to develop. But I think he's taken a step forward from where he was, at this point last year.
Don't know what he saw. And if he took a step from last year to this year, that is about equivalent from you. If you have, walking up some stairs or something like that, you got 16 stairs, you go from the bottom and you just take one step up, because that's all I seen. Because last year, it was kind of like the same way. Stonewall Jackson was Isaiah Foskey, and he is still Stonewall Foskey to this day. Didn't see much out of him. I don't know how in the world he got a half of a sack yesterday. I don't know. Maybe the offensive lineman may have, pushed him over the quarterback when the quarterback maybe tripped over himself or something, and that's how he got the sack, because he was the first person to touch the quarterback. Because I know for damn sure, I ain't seen nothing out there that tells me that this dude was hungry and wanted that sack. But anyway, he talked a little bit about that. He said that he progressed. Look, like I said, we only have like a little small snippet of what Isaiah Foskey is. I mean, I like if we evaluating on game time, and what you doing in a game, then this dude shouldn't even be on the team if you ask me. But of course, this leads me to the next topic. The next statement that Dennis Allen made, the follow-up after Mike Triplett kind of expounded on the whole Isaiah Foskey question that DA just answered. He talked about Isaiah Foskey being a second-round draft pick, and some of the, the second, maybe even the third chances, or the Zen-like patience that coaching staff have for guys that are high draft picks.
I think you come into it probably with a little bit of a leg up, being that you were, a draft choice. But at the end of the day, we've got to evaluate what we see, and you have to be able to go out there and earn it, and so I guess probably if there was, using a baseball analogy, I'd say probably the tie goes to the runner. So if you spent assets to go and draft a player, and there hasn't been anything that's really created a separation, then you probably get a little bit of the benefit, as being a draft choice. But really the reality is we've seen a lot of practices, we've seen a lot of game action. And we're going to base, our evaluation based on that.
So This dude is going to make this football team for the simple fact that he is a second-round pick. Isaiah Foskey is going to make this football team for the simple fact that he is a second-round pick, and organizations do not want to admit when they make mistakes. They do not want to cut their losses. They are going to try to put this square peg into this round hole until it actually looks like a round hole, I guess. This is absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. There's a guy that busts their ass in practice, busts their ass out there on the field during the game, and is not going to get a roster spot because the Saints are messing around and fooling around with Stonewall Jackson himself, Isaiah Foskey. It is absolutely sad, and to be quite honest with you, this is the type of behavior, and these are the type of practices that hold teams back. These are the type of practices that have your ass on the outside looking in year after year after year because of the arrogance and the ego of the higher ups that make these decisions. I don't need to see Isaiah Foskey anymore for me to know that the dude is soft as cottonelle tissue. I don't need to see any more of this. You got a second-round pick in Isaiah Foskey, and you talking about he can contribute on special teams? Are you freaking kidding me, dude? You got second-round picks out here that are being used like first-round picks. I'll give you an example. Eric McCoy was a second-round pick. The Saints did not have a first-round pick in that draft. Eric McCoy, right now, you can argue, is one of the best players, if not the best player on the team. He is top 3 at his position in the entire NFL. You have a second-round pick in Isaiah Foskey, and you're trying to sell the media. You're trying to sell us that there's a spot for him on special teams. You do not take a second-round pick and have him out there playing on a position, with all due respect, of individuals that are just trying to make the team, that probably, you probably pencil that guy in to be a part of that particular position. It is a damn shame. And this is the type of stuff that has individuals laughing. This is the type of stuff that feels like this organization is headed in the wrong direction. Keeping around Isaiah Foskey when you have some of these other guys out here that are about as hungry as somebody that hasn't eaten in 4 to 5 days. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. If the Saints, for the mere fact, and I don't care what they say, the mere fact that he is a second-round pick, this guy is going to make the roster. If I see Anthony Orji on the practice squad after I see this man for 2 straight games flying all over the field, played from start to finish, led the team in tackles, and you can see this dude evolving and getting better. But Isaiah Foskey has been the same dude that he's been since he has been drafted out of Notre Dame. Miss me with the nonsense. Miss me with that foolishness. Speaking of foolishness, as we go ahead and we fast forward for this one, I got to get my schemata on. Shouts out to schemata. I got to get my schemata on here because I got to go ahead and I got to share this screen. Because this one right here, I want to make sure that they get their credit right here. You know what I'm saying? The Saints Insider. Got nothing against this. Like, great show, man. Shouts out to my guy, Rod Walker, man. Doing great work. Shouts out to, Luke Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Really good guy right there. Met him at the Combine. Gave me some really good advice. And so many of the other guys, a lot of people have issues with Jeff Duncan. That's your battle, not mine. But it was after the game, and I want to say that this guy name is Jim Derry, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it could be John, could be Jim. Like for this case, I think his name is Jim Derry. But he has a podcast called Datitude, right? And also he is a contributor at NOLA.com, of course. And, they're doing a post game and they're talking a little bit about the game. And, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Now, I ain't got no problem with nobody giving their opinion about anything. Like, I'm just giving my opinion about how I feel right now. It's not gospel. You know, like, it ain't gospel, you know what I'm saying? Like, take it for what it is. But I gotta say, this sounds like a little bit of some hate right here. Now, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm tripping. So that's why I brought it to you. Tell me if I'm tripping. This is after the game. The question was asked to him about the performance of Spencer Rattler. Check it out.
Rattler legitimately looked more, and I know you're leading the train of slowing down the hype train, if you will, on Spencer Rattler. Like, he's still a rookie. There are people out there who are saying he's challenging Derek Carr for the starting position. That is not
that's absolutely not true.
That's loony.
That's not even close to true.
He's not. But
so let's pause it right here. Let's pause it right here. All right. So he already setting it up right now when he says that, like, people think that, that Spencer Rattler is basically battling with Derek Carr for the starting job. And he's laughing it off and scoffing it off like it's like out of the realm of possibility right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, Derek Carr just leaps and bounds better than Spencer Rattler is. And at this particular stage, I will say that Derek Carr is a better NFL quarterback than Spencer Rattler. But to say that, in a couple of years we having this conversation, that it sounds far-fetched. I mean, come on, man. It could be a conversation to be had, but continue.
I will say this was the best day Rattler had in a preseason game. He finished 7 of 13 for about 115 yards. I don't have his exact numbers in front of me, but he made a couple less than that, close. Yeah, couple of good throws, a touchdown throw to A.T. Perry, and then a long throw to A.T. Perry. The touchdown throw was to Equimanius St. Brown. 2 really nice throws, although even the one to Perry was underthrown. Could have been a touchdown if it had been aired out properly.
Nitpicking right there, but continue.
But he did look good. He led most of the scoring drives today. Do you tick him up? How much do you tick him up in your book?
I thought the touchdown pass was the best pass of the game by anyone. Malik Willis actually had a pretty darn good pass as well.
So he not impressed. Okay, so yeah, it's something that we seen every day. Yeah, it's something that we saw every day. Who that nation? The great immaculate quarterback play of the Ian Books and the Trevor Simeons. Yeah, we see passes and throws and quarterback play of this magnitude every day in New Orleans. Matter of fact, I mean, we see this all the time. I mean, Drew Brees left, and I mean, God dog, man, the Saints have a Patrick Mahomes walking through the door every 5 minutes. I tell you, man, they have to keep him out, right? We got a Patrick Mahomes right here, right there. We got Josh Allen throwing 60-yard bombs down the field, but I mean, yeah, we ain't impressed, dude.
That goes in his favor, but overall, he just didn't do anything. Then he got bailed out on that same drive. He threw the touchdown pass. He gets bailed out by defensive holding call, or the Saints would either have the punt or try a long field goal there anyway.
If ifs was a fifth, we all would be drunk. If ifs was a fifth, we all would be drunk. They got bailed out. If Patrick Mahomes didn't throw up that Hail Mary pass to Tyreek Hill against the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, Patrick Mahomes may have lost that Super Bowl. If Emmanuel Sanders would have caught that pass down the right sidelines of the Super Bowl that Jimmy Garoppolo threw to him, the 49ers would have won the Super Bowl. Penalties happen. So you're going to judge this guy and say that, oh, he got bailed out because of some penalties? So the freak what? If we've seen guys on countless occasions, they'll get automatic first downs. The driver keep going and they still kicking field goals or punting. Case in point, our quarterback who we have right now, Derek Carr, we've seen that quite a few times, but continue.
And then he gets help on an offsides call that makes it 1st and 5 before he gets to, I think it was 2nd down when he threw the touchdown pass. So the pass to A.T. Perry that you're talking about was behind, I thought, A.T. Perry, a good pass, and it's a touchdown.
Okay, so let's go back and look, I'm not picking on Jake Haener, but let's go back and take a look at that 58-yard pass that Jake Haener threw down the field in week 1 of preseason versus the Arizona Cardinals. Was A.T. Perry not about 3 or 4 yards ahead of that cornerback when he threw him the football? So if Jake Haener would have threw him the football down the field in front of him, he would have scored then too. But keep in mind, this is the guy who is sitting up here telling us that Jake Haener is just so much is better than Spencer Rattler is right now, even though we've seen that there isn't that much separation, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and finish this up.
They need to run it in there. So if you're asking my opinion, I still think that as far as long term, if you want to talk about someone who has more of a chance to be an NFL quarterback and has more of an upside, it's Spencer Rattler. If you're talking about someone who I'd rather have in if I were the Saints and rather put in right now, if Carr were hurt for a short period of time, I'd rather it be Jake Haener. So that's kind of where I am right now. And let's be honest, if Derek Carr is going to be out for a long period of time, I would think they'd either go with a veteran or they'd be in a lot of trouble because neither one of these guys is ready to lead a team for a long period of time anyway.
All right, so there's some validity in what you said towards the tail end. All right, so I can understand why somebody would select Jake Haener in this situation. Jake Haener has been with the New Orleans Saints organization. He's been one of those guys who, has done the right things. Like I said, he's a really smart football player. But once again, to make it seem like it's just a no-brainer that the Saints should roll with Jake Haener over Spencer Rattler based on what we've seen in certain situations and just make it seem like it's just so matter-of-factly, like it's just case closed right here. Like Spencer Rattler ain't ready for prime time. Don't need to put him out there. Jake Haener is the guy. And, like what are Saints fans talking about? I feel like this guy went to the Skip Bayless school of hot takes here. I don't know who's paying this dude. I don't know if, if they, credibility or credentials are on the line here, but you cannot sit up here and tell me that Jake Haener, as much as I like Jake Haener, is a no-brainer to a point where Spencer Rattler shouldn't even be talked about. This is a conversation that needs to be had. This is something that needs to be evaluated. Like, I didn't get that. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know what the heck was going on right there. But all I'm saying is all that nitpicky stuff right there, talking about the dude underthrowing passes. Like, let's be real about this. How many overthrow passes we seen from Derek Carr? How about that pass that Derek Carr threw in the game versus the Arizona Cardinals when Chris Olave was wide open behind the defense and he couldn't get it to him? Like, how many 3-and-outs did they have? And then you have Spencer Rattler coming to the game fresh off the bench, lead the Saints down the field for a touchdown. You can talk about them being bailed out, whatever the heck you want to call it. But the reality is he did what he needed to do. I don't understand the nitpicky stuff. I don't understand that. It seems to me that this is an individual that sees that Saints fans are excited about the future. They're excited about a quarterback, and maybe, I don't know, somebody must have put some lump of coal in his stocking or something like that, and he just wants to rain on everybody parade. It's like that person that comes to the party and everybody having a good time, everybody dancing, the DJ is playing all the hits, and they just stand in the corner and say, man, they ain't got enough girls up in here. Or a girl be like, I ain't got enough. Man, it's lame up in here. And they just walk out, but everybody else having a good time. Just so everybody can, be like, what's wrong? What happened? I don't know. But to me, like, that was just some bona fide certified hate right there. I didn't get it. Like, I think both quarterbacks did pretty well in the game. I felt like some of the wide receivers kind of let them boys down in certain situations, not catching the football. I think that both stat lines would have looked a little bit more appealing if the running backs, not the running backs, but the receivers would actually catch the freaking football. So that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on right there. I just didn't get that. And maybe y'all did, but I didn't. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about some of the guys that are on the bubble. And of course, I said we was going to do the 53-man roster. I'll have that out for you all today. That's going to be on my social media page on X. I'll have a little depth chart, mock depth chart of the State of Saints podcast Final 53. So make sure y'all check that out. Let's see. Big Sean says, since they living on it, why don't they mention if those receivers would have caught those passes that Rattler threw dead in their breadbasket. Exactly. The pass by Equimedius St. Brown down the left sidelines, not the one on the right where he caught the touchdown, but the one where he was wide open and should have caught the football. Didn't catch that one, right? That would have been a big time play. And like I said, also with Jake Haener. Jake Haener got robbed of a touchdown. He got robbed of a touchdown, man. He threw a touchdown to A.T. Perry. And, of course, it was called back because of a holding penalty. So, you know, I can look at it from both ways. But at the same time, I can make an argument that Equimedius St. Brown, if he would have caught that Equimedius St. Brown, if he would have caught that pass, you know, then who knows what that would have did. I don't know if they would have ran it in for a touchdown, or heck, maybe Michael Jacobson probably would have did something right in the game and caught a touchdown. Regardless, like you can't just go on hypotheticals. If like, so what? You know, it was a penalty that was called in the game. It was a penalty that called that sustained the drive, and he went down there and he took advantage of the opportunities. So for us to be sitting up here nitpicking like, oh, he didn't do enough in order for the team, you know, to go down the field, the referees bailed them out. Like, man, we see that stuff all the time, man. How many Super Bowls Tom Brady got for the referees bailing him out? How about that? I can think of at least 2. How about the tuck rule? How about that AFC Championship game versus the Kansas City Chiefs? How about that? We can't be doing that off no hypotheticals, man. Like, we ain't talking about that, though. But who cares at the end of the day when the result is success? When Tom Brady holds up those Super Bowl rings, right? When you hold up, what, it's 7 Super Bowls? Who cares? Who cares at the end of the day? How you got them? See, it's about getting into the end zone, and that's exactly what he did. Why isn't Spencer Rattler ready for prime time? His skin complexion or something? I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you have a lot of people that, you know, they feel like he leaves a lot to be desired. And I just don't get it, man. Like, I don't understand. You know what really ticks me off about some of this stuff that's going on? Saints fans for the last 3, almost 4 years have had very little to cheer about, to celebrate, to be happy for since number 9 decided to go into retirement. Let's just be real, man. Let's just keep it 100. Like when Drew Brees walked off that field in a nearly empty Superdome for the very last time, to me, hope kind of left with him. If you based on what you've seen over the last couple of years, and people haven't gotten a lot to be excited about. Like they haven't gotten excited about Saints football since that time when you thought you had a chance of beating Tom Brady and going to the freaking Super Bowl. But now you got somebody. I don't know if Spencer, like honestly, I don't know if Spencer Rattler the future. I don't know if this guy going to be, a quarterback that can lead the Saints to anything. But right now, people are excited about what this dude is and what the possibilities are. And the fact that people are like, man, well, slow your roll. Like what are you doing? Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we supposed to like look like just completely like suspend what we actually see. This is a young man who has amazing arm talent, has a swag that has been missing since I don't know how long. He represents yesteryear when the Saints had swag, when the Saints had confidence, when they was partying inside of the locker room virtually every week because they were celebrating their accomplishments every single week. This is what this dude represents. And you want this fan base to pump their brakes and go back to the stale, vanilla type culture that they have right now? I'm sorry. They got a lot of good players on this team, but let's just be real. If you weren't a Saints fan, if you were not black and gold to the heart, to your heart and your soul, would you be watching this football team? This team is boring as hell. Not interesting. You got to basically make your own storylines to make them feel appealing. But now you have somebody in Spencer Rattler that can actually galvanize a fan base. And you have to take into account the guy is going to play at least 9 dome games per year with his arm talent. That can be something that is magical. People are falling in love with the possibilities. Why can't people dream? Why can't people feel like there's hope for the future? Why are people trying to close the doors on the future? Why are they trying to stop people from actually believing and feeling like the Saints can actually be something down the line? Why? Why is that? Because you want people to what? Rely on Derek Carr? Like, come on, man. Like, look, I'm hoping Derek Carr ends up being something. I hope that Derek Carr leads the Saints to the playoffs. I hope they win the division with him. I really do, man, because I'm a Saints fan at the end of the day. But let's just keep it a buck. Dude ain't it when it comes to swag, confidence, etc., etc. He is the cousin that people look at and be like, man, and he gets into a fight, and you like, all right, man, let me go over here and handle this, man. He my cousin. That's what that is. It's not like, oh, snap. Oh, Derek in trouble. Oh, snap, man. Man, let me take my shirt off. Man, let me take my hat off, man. What's happening? Like it's not like that. Like I said, it's the cousin that's you defend him because he blood. People just want something to believe in. That's what it's about. That's what football is about. That's what fan bases are constantly looking for every single year. That is why you can have one of the worst teams in all of football right now. You can talk to one of the members of their fan base and they feel like they got a chance. Well, we did do something in the offseason. We did fix our offensive line. We did fix our defensive line. Man, we did get an extra cornerback. We did draft a running back. People just want something to believe in. So I don't understand the angle of trying to take people hope away. I don't. Like, what the hell are you taking people hope away from? You take Spencer Rattler and the hope of Spencer Rattler away from this team, I guarantee you, man, you're gonna take a lot of hope away. Because that young man right there is clinging to the heartstrings of the Who Dat Nation, and he is helping these individuals kind of cope with what the hell is going on right now. Tim, thank you very much for the $5. Said TJ, your boy is back from my Canadian hibernation. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Tim, thank you so much for being here, man. Shouts out to Tim, man. I ain't hear from you in a long time. Glad that you're back for the season. Glad that you're back for the season. Facts 100. It's been a brutal few years. Yeah, man, it's been terrible, brutal. It's been brutal out here, and people just want some hope, man. Like I said, ain't like we don't know if this dude gonna pan out. But trying to be the person that's first to the, I guess, like first to the stop sign, like what do you get from that? Like what do you get from it? Oh, I seen this at practice. Oh, I seen this at practice. People telling me A.T. Perry can't play at practice, but A.T. Perry has led the entire NFL for whatever, whatever this is worth. He is leading the NFL in receiving yards in preseason with 176 and could have had, a touchdown to add to it. But they telling me, oh, he ain't doing nothing at practice, but he balling the hell out when he get out there on that field. Which leads me to my next point. Speaking of wide receivers, we got to wrap this thing up, man. These wide receivers leave a lot to be desired too. I know y'all seen them drop passes. And none of these dudes, for the exception of Olave and Shaheed, like, pretty much move the needle for me. I don't know about you. I know I heard about Cedric Wilson. I like Cedric Wilson. I think dude is a solid wide receiver. I'm saying solid. I ain't saying this dude is about to like change your fortunes or anything like that. There is a huge drop-off if something was to happen to Chris Olave. Something's already going on with Rashid Shaheed. So, no disrespect to Cedric Wilson, but I don't even think he's not on the level of a Chris Olave. He is not. And I just think that it's so weird to me that the New Orleans Saints are just avoiding the obvious. And it just makes me wonder. Who that nation. Are the New Orleans Saints conceding? Like, hear me out. Are the New Orleans Saints coming to grips with the fact that Dennis Allen possibly is not the guy? Because you got to think about this, folks. This offensive line has been in shambles for I don't know how long, right? The entire training camp, everybody's been talking about how bad this offensive line is, how these guys are getting beat, how nobody's really separating themselves. You basically got Trevor Penning in the game, even though he played much better in this last game. You got him in right now because nobody can beat him out, which is honestly like so egregious. I don't even know where to start. You can't beat out a guy that constantly gets whooped by a bull rush every single time. But I digress. You're not making any type of moves, any type of significant moves. Instead of you coming out here getting somebody that's a proven veteran, you're getting guys who played in the USFL. You're getting guys who have been on the practice squad 3 and 4 times over. You're out here getting guys that people forgot even playing in the NFL anymore. And that's who you are actually building this team around. I say that to say this. The Saints had an opportunity to go and get a big-time free agent. They lost out to the Atlanta Falcons and Justin Simmons. But the Saints, if I'm not mistaken, they got about, $14 million in cap space. Could be a little bit less than that now. I don't know. But my thing is, how do you have all of this cap space knowing that you need help at the wide receiver position, knowing that you need help on the offensive line, and you are not going to do that? Instead, you're willing to roll into the season with the most, in some cases, the most mediocre cast of characters at the wide receiver position that we've seen on this side of the Joseph Morgans and Robert Meacham being your number 1 and 2. All I'm saying is the reality, it seems like the New Orleans Saints are coming to grips with this dude, and I'm talking Dennis Allen, may not be the guy. And maybe they're trying to set themselves up just for the simple, just in case. It's not like they're saying, okay, man, Dennis is going to fail. Just in case Dennis can't get the job done, we hire somebody else and our team looks a little bit more appealing than they did when they were, $100 and some odd million under the cap, or over the cap rather. Maybe this coach can come in and, we can maybe move some guys and get some guys off the books and add a little bit more money here. Maybe it'll make it look a little bit more appealing. That's what I'm thinking. Because there's no way on God's green earth do you really go into a season and your supporting cast consists of, no disrespect once again, but it's about what you did in the league, Equimedius St. Brown, Samson Nakua, Mason Tipton, who we have not seen, but I'm pretty sure he's probably going to make the team because he probably going to be on special teams or something, Stanley Morgan, and Kevin Austin. A.T. Perry and Bub Means. Like, you're not about to tell me, like the name of these individuals I just named are going to be a part of this roster. And you rolling into the season with that and feeling like you about to win 10 games. I just want to know, what the hell are you smoking? There has got to be some type of objective here. There got to be some type of explanation for this mediocrity that is going to grace the field offensively. And the Saints think they're going to put up 100 yards a game. I just want to know. I mean, am I tripping? I said this on X, and I'm going to say it here for the people that don't have social media, that don't really be on X like that. The New Orleans Saints are a football team that are just enough, they're just good enough to give you hope that they can do something, but at the same time aren't good enough to reach any type of goal that they set out to do. That's where they at. Like, I use the example of a car, not a derrick car, but a vehicle that you drive. This vehicle may, you start it up, you crank it up, but it's leaking oil, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you press the accelerator a little bit too hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, it started running hot, right? So you can't really do anything except ride throughout the city with it. When you ride throughout the city, you good, right? Take this thing to the Winn-Dixie take this thing to the Kroger. You know, like, you good, right? Because Kroger ain't number like 2-3 miles from my house. Then Winn-Dixie right around the corner, man. I could have walked here, but it's too hot. So I'm going to take this car. That is what the Saints are, right? But when it comes to putting this thing on a highway, you ain't about to go down here if you're in New Orleans. You ain't about to get in the car and ride down 10 and go to Harrisburg in it. You ain't about to get on 20 or 55 and be riding to Jackson in it. Like, you ain't about to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't about to do it. That is what this team is, man. Like, yeah, it's smooth sailing right now, man. Give me the point A to point B. It'll get you excited. You know, a running play or two, an Alvin Kamara run, a pass to Chris Olave, a little something there. You know, it gets you excited. Have you talking. But just enough to get their brains beat out by the Kansas City Chiefs or one of these other premier NFL teams and fall short. Get you excited. Like, going into week 16, 17, the Saints, they got to win 2 of their next 3, or they got to win 1 of their next 2 in order for them to make the postseason, and they fall short. That is what this team is to me. And there has got to be, who that nation, there has got to be a reason why they are not making extravagant expenses. It's got to be. You don't think that your team can be much better with a Hunter Renfrow on your team? You don't think your team could be better? Well, Juju already signed with Kansas City, but when he was out there, like, even for better or for worse, a Chase Claypool. Now, you don't think your team can be better, like, at a position like wide receiver with guys that actually done it, that actually have had 1,000 yards, guys that can probably, get a little bit of separation, above average route running? But instead, you up here messing around with Last Chance the American Idol boys, the America's, next top models, America's Got Talent. That's what you messing around with. And you're trying to convince us that America's Got Talent, that America's Next Top Model. Come on, man. X Factor. These dudes are going to be the ones that's going to lead this team to the postseason. Well, good luck with all that. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it. Much love to you, man. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. I'm going to try to come back tonight, man. I didn't get a chance to answer too many questions or read too many comments. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to come tonight to, be able to talk to you all and try to see what you all have to say. And I'm really going to put emphasis on the comments, man. So I apologize for that, but I had a lot to say. But shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to everybody that's listening at home. Shouts out to everybody listening on social media, other platforms. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate it. You can follow me on X at TJAYJones8, and previous episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. Make sure that you check out the Gumbo Pot Sports podcast that's available on YouTube as well. And every Tuesday, you can catch me on the NFC South Roundtable over there on the Roundtable Sports Network. Make sure you check it out, man. Much love to those brothers over there. Looking forward to talking football with them on Tuesday. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.